So last week, Adam Silver was on my new favorite morning sports talk show, Breakfast Ball, on FS1 with Craig Carton, Mark Schwerth, and Danny Parkins. And among the other things, as he was previewing the NBA Finals that he mentioned that really caught my eye, is he did confirm that the 2026 NBA All-Star Game will not only be in the afternoon because it will be the first one to be back on NBC with the new media rights deal that again, it's going to be in the afternoon because the Winter Olympics are going to be on this year, but that it is going to be a format of USA versus the world. Now, a lot of people are excited about this because of two things. One, because of the success of what the NHL did with its Four Nations concept, and everybody essentially rallied around hockey and talked about the NHL for 24 hours. They talked about the NHL more for that. They have two amazing Stanley Cup Finals games between the Panthers and the Oilers. And again, I don't know hockey. I don't watch hockey. I've tuned into the last 5 minutes of overtime of both of game ones. But the Four Nations thing was the most viewed hockey game, even more than the Stanley Cup Finals, which features a rematch from last year. And so everybody will wanted to see, will the NBA sort of adopt it? Because obviously the NBA has the likes of Luka and Jokic and Giannis and SGA. And you can throw Jamal Murray in there and take all these great players and put them up against Steph Curry and LeBron and Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, James Harden, right? America versus the world. And everybody had said, well, it worked so well in the Olympics, and obviously Victor Wembanyama and Team France almost knocked us off. And they said, the world is getting closer to the U.S. It's time to really put our patriotic pride on. Let's do it on the NBA stage. Let's do it in the NBA All-Star Weekend. And I have clapped back, and I'm still going to clap back. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if this is going to say the NBA All-Star Game. Now, will the world players presumably play harder, and it will force the American players to play harder? That is obviously what they think of this format because they think the world is going to want to prove that they are now better than the USA. I think there are two flaws in that. Is that number one, this isn't for a gold medal. And I think being a gold medal and representing your country on a stage, whether it's in Tokyo, Japan, whether it's in Los Angeles in 2028, I think that's a big difference compared to an NBA All-Star game. With that being said, I think the players do know that this has to be somewhat of a real game, and hopefully they do play defense. And I mean throughout the whole game. I'm not talking for just the fourth quarter. The NBA All-Star game, and for that, the NBA All-Star weekend, in my opinion, has been completely ruined. I think Max McClung, as great of a dunker as he is, I think he's completely ruined the dunk contest because I don't think a G Leaguer should be in the dunk contest. These, last year with the four teams and one of them being the Rising Stars team, which was the stupidest thing they've ever done. There was a target score of was it 15? Was it 30? I don't remember. Nobody gave a rat's ass. It was the worst All-Star game I ever seen, even worse than the 2023 NBA All-Star game, and it was a complete disaster for the week. So again, now the NBA is going to go, oh, we're going to do USA versus the world. The problem is, I've already mentioned six players from the world side, right? SGA, Luka, Giannis, Victor Wembanyama, Jokic, Jamal Murray. How are you going to fill out 7 for 12? I mean, maybe Czar, the kid that was drafted by Atlanta a couple years ago in the draft. But I couldn't think of a ton of other, clear cut, I don't know, guys that are from Canada or wherever. Like, I couldn't think of them. And so I think personally that it's going to deflate the voting for NBA All Star Weekend, which again, I've always said should not be in the hands of the fans. I always thought it should be in the hands of players, coaches, and the media because the fans have biases. I like players more than you do. You guys like some players more than I do. Um, so I think there's a big flaw in that. I do think the fact that it's going to air in the afternoon will actually help. I think more people will be wide awake during the day. It will be, a lot like maybe a NBA regular season game at 3:30, or even dare I say like an NFL playoff game type atmosphere. They build it right into the Winter Olympics. They market right around it. Like I don't think sports fans will have a problem with tuning in at 3, 4 o'clock Eastern time in the afternoon. I really don't. I think sports fans are accustomed to that. But I don't think that this USA versus the world thing is going to solve NBA All-Star Weekend. Again, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe the world goes all out, but it's still an All-Star game. And I think there's a big difference between it being an All-Star game and it being, for a gold medal representing your country. Like, I think that's a big factor. I think that this generation of players, even the past generation, guys like a LeBron, like a Steph, who grew up in that Kobe Bryant era, the great era of the All-Star game in the mid 2000s with your Kobe's, your Dirks, your Steve Nash's, your Dirk Nowitzki's, hell, even Russell Westbrook, one of the guys that took the All-Star game very seriously. And now all of a sudden, they're not. Now, maybe guys like Tyrese Halliburton, maybe an Anthony Edwards, maybe an SGA, maybe some of these new stars that we're talking about that are either on the NBA final stage or in the Western Conference Finals, maybe they're the ones to bring it back, but I don't see it. I mean, last year those guys looked completely disinterested. And again, I just think switching up teams is not going to matter. I thought the best All-Star game in the last decade was the 2021. These guys played hard, and it was obviously dedicated to Kobe Bryant and his late daughter Gianna, who passed away in that horrific plane crash or that helicopter crash. Excuse me. But they played to a target score. And even then, like I thought, you at least get defense in the fourth quarter. You add 24 to whatever the highest score is, and that's the game. And I thought drafting teams, I even thought, give them bonuses in their contract if they win the game, because I don't care. They're saying, oh, you can't pay these professional athletes enough. No, you pay professional athletes $5. They're going to come because money is money to these guys. Like, I think that will incentivize these guys to play harder. I think more than anything would be money. I don't think USA versus the world is needed. And again, I'll say this. The NHL has always been viewed as Canada's sport. And with the tensions that have gone on between the US and Canada now politically, that was a big reason I think why that was successful because we're so prideful in USA and we want to beat Canada at their own game. And I always thought hockey was more of a patriotic game than the NBA. We know where most NBA players, I'm not saying all, but we know where most NBA players stand on social issues. We know how the NBA as a brand stands on social issues. And we know how the NBA has talked about way back in 2020 when it was the George Floyd situation, and even going back to 2016, 2017, the Colin Kaepernick situation, and then kneeling for the anthem, and how much of a bigger deal that was for the NBA than the NFL. That I don't think these NBA players are as much. It's going to be USA. We got to go all out and beat the world as we used to be. Um, it's sad to say, and again, I'm not sticking my political opinions in here at all. I'm just making a statement that I feel most people do feel is true. Our patriotism in this country is arguably at an all-time low, and sports is the ultimate unifier. And again, I think that hockey is more of a American versus the world. We want to be better at Canada, even though we're not. We're jealous, which is why many American fans don't watch hockey because it is still Canadian sport. Where the world, they love basketball, obviously, Spain, France, Argentina, even. It's a very global game, but there's no like, oh, we're better than the USA. We have to beat them. And the USA, these guys like LeBron and Kevin Durant and Steph, I don't really think they feel the pressure of like, oh my God, we have to beat these world guys because they just go, yeah, they're all sort of better than us and we're all sort of one happy family. And we don't fight to protect Old Glory, the great American flag, the 50 stars and the 13 bars. I feel like the NBA out of all sports is the least patriotic, if you will, and the players are the least patriotic and care the least most about fighting for Team USA at this point in time than they ever have in any other sport. And that's another reason why I don't think USA versus the world is going to work. Let me know why I'm wrong down below. Call me out for my politics if you can figure out which side of the political aisle I'm on, which I can tell you right now you won't. But let me know why you think this is a good idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't think it's going to be successful as everybody in the media thinks it's going to be. Like that clip from the Brand Sports podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand Sports podcast right here on YouTube.